Welcome to the Party Starters podcast with me, Kane Towning.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Hello people and welcome to the Party Starters podcast with me, Kane Towning. This guest is a videographer who has gone from shooting club level videos to becoming MK's official tour videographer. He now travels the world with MK, sitting on MK's private jet, going to all these amazing festivals and different destinations around the world. He's also now a very integral part of MK's tour team. I want to find out, how has he done that? How has he gone from regular club work to becoming MK's tour videographer? He's called Reece. He's a very good friend of mine and he is super professional. You can really learn a lot from this guy. So listen in and let's get into it. Welcome to the Party Starters podcast with me, Kane Towning.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Question I want to ask you, Reece, is how the hell did you go from filming our events in Leeds or being pissed up on a boat in Malia to touring the world with MK and being MK's tour videographer? How you did that, obviously, what advice you've got to people wanting to do that. And the main reason for me is because we work with loads of different videographers. There's some good options out there. There's a lot of great creative people. But I was trying to think earlier, you are literally the only person doing videos that we've worked with that has gone to that next level. There's loads of people doing it at club level and doing a really good job. And they might pick up a few little festivals, but you are the only person I know that has taken it to a next level and managed to get, you know, someone like MK touring with MK, sitting on MK's private jet. It's fucking nuts. So
yeah.
How are you doing it? What's it like? And how do other people do that?
It's all, firstly, is the first thing, people just can't expect it overnight. I think some people may just seem like, even before I came to Leeds and started doing videos with you guys, I'd been doing videography for nearly 3-4 years prior to that, building up the back catalogue sort of, so when the opportunities did arise, I was ready to take them. How I personally started, so in the build up to me coming to Leeds, there's sort of like a couple of stages to how I did it. So I was doing it locally. I basically was doing film and media at college, and we could hire out equipment for free. So could hire cameras out at the weekend and we could use it on college shoots. So, of course, I messaged a local nightclub promoter, was like, hey, don't know if you've had any videos for your nights before. I'll give you a heads up. I haven't really done that many before. I've done one or two. £100, I'll do a nightclub video for you. Did a nightclub video, turned out to be one of the biggest house promoters in all of Essex. So off of the back of that, they then had me pretty much every Saturday, every Friday. This was back when like Southend in Essex had a massive house scene. And the person who'd sort of done nightclub videos before that had sort of already moved on to better things. So I noticed that there was a massive gap in the market. No one else was really doing it. I had the equipment for free, so I didn't even have to go buy a camera. All I had to do was literally just send a message. And that's what I did. So I did that for ages, kept building it up. This probably happened over the like sort of 1 to 2 years. I think this part's really important as well, is there was some local DJs that I knew and I wanted to get out of Essex. I wanted to get out of Southend. I was in this bubble. I'd been charging a fixed price for so long and there was nothing more I could do to charge more, because I've been, you know, had these clients for years. And if all of a sudden I'm like, hi guys, I want to charge another £100, they're like, well, why? Because we've had you at £100 for the last, 2 years. So I'm thinking, okay, how can I expand and build my network further? So there were some local DJs that I noticed kept doing gigs out in, say, Canterbury, different parts of London and in Kent. So I was like, I'm friendly with them already. I was like, hey, do you guys want some videos? We're doing dirt cheap, just sort of gets me out there. And that's what I did. I did a video for 50 quid, but I became their driver. So I would drive them to the gigs. So they'd pay me for the petrol and all that. So it was more about me getting out of town. And just by doing that, so we did one gig in Canterbury, or we did a few gigs in Canterbury. Off the back of that, I ended up getting a job through the official charts company, where they took me all over the UK, filming loads of showcases. I got a clothing brand deal out of it. And then I also got another deal who had recommended it on. And I think that's one thing that people overlook, that lots of people say, do work for free, do work for free. It's not even about that, but do it for cheap as well. like if you think there's an avenue that you can sort of take, or it might open doors, or it might potentially lead down a path, and you're happy doing it, you're going to have fun. I was with my mates, that we were essentially living tour life at 20 years old in my clapped out Polo, driving down to Canterbury at God knows what time in the morning. I sort of just put it out from there.
Yeah, it's a really good point, is the fact that you do have to put yourself out there and do stuff for free to get your skills out there. And I think that's what a lot of the younger generation miss. I mean, I get asked for DJ sets every single day, and some of these guys will be on me like constantly every week. This will be going on for months. Please, can I play? Please, can you give me a set? Please, can I get on this lineup? And then you get to the point where, okay, yeah, I'll put you on this lineup. The first thing they hit you with, how much? How much are you paying? I'm like, what? You've just been chasing me for 3 months to get a set, and the first thing you're asking is how much?
I think as well, it's sorry to jump in there. I think it's like, I've said it before in some previous bits I've done, is that people, they just don't have the patience. So prime example, there was a nightclub near me that I wanted to start doing work for. They switched promoters or changed owners, and I was like, okay, I haven't really gotten in here, but I go to this club enough that I know the doorman. So I'm a bit of not a face at the club, but I know some of the bar staff, I know some of the doormen. So I kept going to that club. I knew some of the DJs, so I started saying hello to DJs I didn't even know. Just go up and be like, oh, hi, mate. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, yeah, I've seen you on Facebook. Oh, yeah, I've seen you too. Build little relationships through that. Well, I then ended up becoming friends with the nightclub owner's son, who we then went to that club every single week. Through that, we then ended up hosting. Every time they had PAs down, celebrities down, we'd host them through that. And not just through that, I then became not a face, but I became known to the people local in my area. They're like, oh yeah, Reece is always in Mayhem, or yeah, you'll be here, or oh, you can sort this. But all of a sudden, people knew what I did. So when people then think, oh, we need a videographer, oh yeah, Reece does that. Yeah. And they haven't even seen the quality, but they associate you with that. And if you've been nice and you've sort of presented yourself in a good way, then that's a way to capitalize it. You can't just DM Creamfields and be like, can I film for you? It's not how it works. Sometimes at the very blue moon, you might message an artist and they'll be like, oh yeah, I've been looking for someone, like, let's get you on board. But there's ways to articulate it. And I think you're right. Some people are just diving in a little bit too quickly. And it's just, you need to take a step back, and they need to show you first what value they're going to bring. Like, as we both know, like, lots of different sectors within our industry are so oversaturated at the minute. So you've got to shine through. And you can't assume that you're going to go through that person's socials, listen to their mixes. We're all busy people. We haven't got time to do that. Mm-hmm. So you offer them an opportunity to show your value. And then once you've shown your value, then the conversation or discussion is available to have about how you can take that further and then get payment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's really important what you said about patience, and everything that you've just said to get to that point. You've been building your skills so that when that big opportunity does come, like MK, you're in a position to deliver what they want. Whereas if you'd have skipped the queue with that and then you get a call up from MK, you're only going to get one chance with MK. So if you're not at that level to do that because you haven't put in the groundwork, you're going to fuck it up and they're not going to have you back. Whereas if you've got them solid foundations, you're going to be in a better position.
No, absolutely. I think I just want to touch on that there, that the timing of when I got my first MK gig couldn't have been any more perfect. It was sort of, I've been working in the industry for a while. So up to that point, I'd finished my seasons in Malia, had decided to move to Leeds, built up a network there. Off the back of that, had received jobs in Manchester, Newcastle, so all of a sudden was starting to get a lot of work in the northern sector, of the UK, then started to build up clients in Cardiff, to the point where, I mean, you guys know through Freshers how many times we'd bump into each other at gigs. Yeah. I'm driving around, it comes to Freshers week, and I'm doing like 24 gigs in however many weeks and just driving city to city because it was like, well, no, this is where the money is. Like, some people are really tight, like, I'm not going to drive. I was like, well, money's there, I'm going to go drive there. And I know that the more places I can put myself, the better it's going to be. And that's how I ended up with the MK gigs. So by me getting the jobs down in Cardiff, working at Glam, doing their videos there, the lighting designer who was there ended up working on MK's team. From there, they already had a videographer. So when they felt it was time to switch videographers, this production guy, who's only met me a few times, but we've got along well. I built a good rapport. We had fun. I don't think I even had him on Facebook, to be fair. I don't think I even had his number, but we both knew who each other was. So then he's then put my name forward. The MK's team have then come to me and said, look, this is what we've got. SW4, Creamfields weekend. This is our budget for it. Can you do it? Can you make it work? I remember having another gig for like the Saturday, and I was just like, right, this gig's getting covered because I need to do it. And
probably one of my gigs, that.
And I was like, all right, okay, I need to get this gig covered because this is like one of them opportunities. And it was, I remember the whole weekend I had like no sleep. My sleep was messed up the days before. I remember 2 days before, I think my new camera had arrived like 3 weeks before this gig was even confirmed. And I needed like a stabilizer. And I drove to Leeds on the Wednesday and back in the same day, picked up the stabilizer because I was back living in Essex. Got like no sleep the Thursday, Friday, on an hour's sleep, drove to London, did SW4, finished SW4, had to then drive to Creamfields, parked up at Creamfields, luckily got some sleep, then had to be on site for like 11 a.m. But I just remember doing that Creamfields, that first time I did Creamfields was all the stars aligned, as in perfect weather. I just knew I'd never had the opportunity to do a festival video sort of on that scale and exactly how I wanted. And I was like, okay, this is like the perfect time. I think at that point I hadn't even done Made in Leeds. I think I'd filmed it but not edited it. It was one of them ones where I'd filmed it and not edited it. And I was just like, okay, this is my opportunity to not just show MK and the team, but show everyone. This bit. And I still believe that is still one of the best videos I've ever done to this stage. Just everything for me was perfect. The edit was perfect. The cuts, the way I got it, the weather, the crowd. And then from there, obviously, I did an all right job, I guess, because, you know, I'm still with him 3 years later. So
private jets now. All right, so let's just rewind a bit there. So it was a chance meeting from a freshers gig with a light guy.
Yeah, it was. This is why it's so important. You've just got them connections. You never know where the next job's going to come from. Mm-hmm. I don't pay homage enough to the time that I spent when I was in Malia, because building that network in Malia was so crucial. And obviously, working abroad isn't for everyone. But for me, it enabled me to basically know someone in every single city in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, I mean, network's even bigger now. You know, I'm sure you guys are the same. Is that if you ever go to a city, you know someone in pretty much every city or within half hour of wherever you are in the country.
They come up and they're like, I see you in Malia.
One thing I made sure as well in Malia, I think even when you boys had come over, I realised the deal that you guys was when you had come to Malia and was like, okay, make sure you get these shots. I think I tried to send some to you or to Tom, or even when we were all doing the freshers gig, I'd always like, okay, send you guys just a couple of free photos or a couple of free bits to post, because it builds rapport. And it's like, oh, yeah, like, oh, yeah, Reece does bits. Oh, yeah, that does bits. So it's all about building rapport. You know, if I do a gig and there's an artist there, I did the same with DJ Day Day when he was DJing for Mist. So I filmed a gig where Mist was at, took a few photos, sent them over found out I got the guys. I was like, what's your Insta? Blah, blah, blah. Got it. Sent the photos to him the next day. Mist posted it up 2 days later. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just being aware and taking advantage of every situation. I did the same thing when I started working with Joel Corey. Was after he played in Malia, I knew everybody was coming on the boat party the next day. So I made sure the photos were ready on my phone to quickly transfer over to him. Transferred the photos over, he posted it up. He was out there 2-3 more times, get back to the UK, start doing gigs. You know, 2 years later, we've been on the road for however long.
So we've touched a bit on the tour life. I've got my own experiences of tour life, but they're not going to be anything like what it is touring with MK and his schedule. So what is that like? What is you know, what are the hours? What is the craziness of touring with MK and going to all these mega festivals in different countries?
2 words: tiring, but fantastic. The flight, the hardest part is just the flight. I always say to people, you think a simple gig in Ibiza is a simple 2-hour flight. It's not. So let's say pretty much all of our flights, we fly from Heathrow 9 times out of 10. So that's about 2.5 hours from my house. But obviously our flights are around, say, 7, 8, something like that. So that then means I have to be at the airport, 90 minutes before, because we're hand luggage only, but it's going to take me about 2.5 hours to get there. Plus I need to be up and get ready. So 9 times out of 10 for an 8 a.m. flight, I'm waking up at 4 a.m., you know, an hour and a half to get ready, 2 hours to get the train there. Then we're there, done, check in, land. Okay, so we land probably about midday, I think. Go to the hotel. Obviously, we're tired, but you still chill. Sometimes we'll have other bits and pieces to sort of do while we're on the island, which might be promo with different radio stations or interviews, which, you know, I go to all of them. We'll do that, come back. You don't really nap. You know, some of the shows we'll go and, prime example is we go to other shows or we go to Ushuaia, but it's networking. You're going to see faces. We'll go see all of David Guetta's crew, network with them, or Martin Garrix's crew, and that ended up paying off for our production guy. When we had our show at Ushuaia and there was just a mess up with our equipment, we called them boys up straight away and they helped us out. So, you know, building relationships on the island is really important. So that's something you have to do. And then obviously we then get to, say, our set time's 1:30, get to the venue, I don't know, like 12:30, get there, check in, do the gig. Obviously, while you're there, you don't see, it's like the little social spots. You might have a couple of drinks, but then go back to the hotel 5, 6. Okay, 2-3 hours sleep, back to the airport, and then go on to, say, Italy, and the same process again. So a lot of it's sleeping on planes as and where you can, sleeping in taxis. But it's good. It's fun. I really enjoy it. I think it's tiring on your body, but, you know, who else gets to see that experience? You know, you get to travel all around the world. You meet so many different types of people, different rave cultures. It's good. Yeah, it's unique, but it's very fun. It's very, you know, you get to meet all these cool people.
And what is he like? What is MK like? How do you get on with him? Because that's another thing as well. It's who you're touring with. Like, I've always had Tom, and it's like it's just like going on holiday with your best mate, which is very easy to do. So I remember speaking to Majestic actually, and he used to tour on his own, and that was the hardest part for him, touring on his own. Now you're obviously not by yourself, but you're with strangers, not so long ago. So what's MK like?
He's cool, man. Everyone's like, oh, he's just a normal guy. Like, he's cool. He's not like cocky or arrogant or anything. Like, he's quite himself to himself. Like, so he's just laid back.
And how do you have to act differently? Because if I were on a private jet with MK, I'd just be like, MK, remember when you made this track? Remember when you did that track? Oh, like, how did you do this? How did you do that? Do you have to be a bit more reserved and a bit more professional?
Yeah, of course. Like, at the end of the day, he's still a client. So, and that's, I always put that, even the way that I talk to him or I operate within that, at the end of the day, I don't just do, so if some of you don't know, I don't just do the videos and stuff, but I do lots of other jobs while we're on tour as well. So, at the end of the day, my whole job description is, yes, create obviously the visual content, but make his life as easy as possible. I don't know, like, at the end of the day, yes, like, he is still a client. And I've always, with anyone I work with, I've been really fortunate enough to work with, some massive people and meet massive people as well and be in the same room as them and not get, like, starstruck. I've always made that a thing. Like, I think I remember reading it ages ago and I've noticed it. No matter who they are, if they've got a bit of status, like a celebrity, a reality TV star, if you just act them like just a normal person, they're actually more than likely to talk to you back and to be friendly with you because you don't put them on this pedestal. In a way, you're sort of doing reverse psychology.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm putting myself on the same pedestal as them. So they're like, they view you as equal. If I come up and be like, oh, can I get a selfie? Oh, yeah, man, I loved it when you did this and this. Or, oh, how'd you make this? And how'd you make... All of a sudden, it's like, oh, you're just acting like a fan. Like, And I think that's quite important when people work at higher levels. I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously everybody sometimes wants to ask for a photo, but sometimes it's good just not to. Like, just be cool with them. Like, just be like, oh, like, hi Mark, like, hey, it's.
I think as well with you, Reece, because of all the groundwork and foundations you've put in to get up to MK, by the time you've reached MK, you are, super professional. You understand the business, which is again why it is so important to work your way up to that level. If you'd have got a call from MK after your first gig, you'd have...
terrible.
Yeah, I think that's how old are you?
26.
Is that how old you are? Fuck me, I thought you were about 30. Oh, you're my age, like 32?
No, 26, man.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, that's just incredible because, again, just how professional you are and fuck.
Everybody thinks it's the no hair and the beard. Everybody thinks I'm older, so yeah. I think what's cool as well is that where I've been in the scene and in the industry for so long, it's sort of, I know my stuff within the scene. So when I first met you guys, I know the tracks that you've done. Like same with MK. Like when I started working to him, it's good just to know your client. So I know, I mean, just because I follow his music as well, obviously that helps. Know his previous tracks that he's done and other bits and pieces. Oh, okay, he done that remix, and that also comes in handy when you're just referencing conversations, or let's say we're making a video and we're trying to think of a track, and I'm like, oh, well, what about that remix? Or what about that? I mean, even the fact that I DJ'd for a year, 2 years when I was 16, 18, like, oh my God, has come into like use now while we're on the road and we're touring. Like, prime example, how to work a CDJ. So while our production guys at front of house and doing all the lights and everything, I'm the one who's plugging in the USB sticks. I'm the one who's setting stuff up. I'm the one who's queuing in intros, all of this stuff. And our sort of little team that we've got now has become so close-knit and so well-rounded. Don't get me wrong. Of course, there's always ways that we can improve. But I've learned so much from now being in that role. And I'm now working a lot more with his record labels as well. And it's like going back to the drawing board. It's like I'm learning so much more stuff, like how to articulate yourself, how to word emails. You can't do this because you do that. And then you make these maneuvers because it's all a chess game. You make these maneuvers because 2-3 months down the line, we want to do this maneuver.
Right.
And it's just, it's really opened up sort of my world, and also just made me sort of realize that obviously video is always going to be my go-to and where I've started, and what, can do nightclub videos in like a breeze. It's, I know the exact formula to do it and how I work and how I do that. But now learning other sort of areas I just find so interesting, like especially like the social media side, but also consulting. And okay, well, if we're going to do this, and like working with one artist at the minute who's, he's a developing artist, and I'm taking the knowledge and also the influence I have with MK and his team to then put that into effect that, potentially in 5-6 years time or even less, this other artist can then build up and could be potentially managing that artist. You can just take so many little bits from so many different sectors and then apply it into wherever you need to go. Like the whole DJing thing has come in so thing, like just knowing beats per minute, like knowing BPM, knowing when I'm filming. And because I used to learn music, like when a track's going to drop, I never miss a CO2 drop. I never miss a pyro drop because I know, right, okay, so they're bringing that in now. I know what part of the track that is. So I've got 8 bars until that drops.
Yeah.
And even in my video edits, that comes into play, like the flow. Okay, well, you're not going to change clip on the 3rd beat of a bar because that would feel jarring. You're not going to change it on the snare. You're going to change it on the 4th when it changes the actual beat of a bar. So many little bits come into play, but it's so cool.
No,
like,
it's true. I think overall, from everything you've said and how your journey's been, no matter what you're doing from when you first started out in them clubs to now, it is all being connected and it's all been working to the bigger picture. So even though you might be working in some little dingy club, the stuff you will learn there will help you get to there. And as big as this industry is and this mega machine it is very small. It's all interlinked. Like
everyone knows everyone.
You met that lighting jock which got you to MK, so put in the work, meet as many people as you can, and keep grinding.
And I think another thing for people to understand is that it's not just all about the money. Like when I was living in Leeds, you know, I think I had like 4 gigs a week. So I had like you guys on a Saturday or a Friday. I had like Voodoo in Manchester and Newcastle and different places, like doing 4 or 5 gigs a week. Like, hey, I was earning good money. Like I think sometimes people just aim straight for the stars of artists and be like, yeah, I'm going to work with this artist, I'm going to get $1,000 a gig. Like that's not how it works. Mm-hmm. Like even obviously, you know, I'm on good money now, but when I started, you know, it was still good money for the shows, obviously, but the shows were less. But it didn't matter to me because I was like, I know where, if I do a good job with MK's team, I know where that can take me. This isn't, you know, if I do this correctly, I can be here, you know, for a long time. And even now, every single time that I send a message to him or his team, or every situation that I get from them, I deal with it precise. Nothing's too lazy. And, you know, there's been a couple of times I've had to check myself because, you know, you're in a situation for a certain period of time, you get used to it. You know, it's natural. That's human nature. If you're in the same thing, yeah, you get comfortable. And there's been a few times I've had to check myself and be like, hang on a second, mate. You're in a really good fucking job. Do not fuck this up, because if you lose this job, it's not going to look great for you. But 2, you enjoy it. So, you know, why would you want to mess that up on such an amazing opportunity you've got? And it's like weird times when I'll get in a car and just on one journey, you'll hear 2 of MK's tracks plays. And that's when I sort of realise, I'm like, I fucking forget how big he is sometimes, just because you're in that zone so much. And when you're in that environment working so much, as you say, you just get comfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's nothing wrong with being the guy in your city. Like you can be the go-to person within your town, within your city, and make an awful lot of money and be super comfortable. You could work the hours you want. You'll be 20 minutes from home each time. You can still go out. And probably when you do go out, you're not going to have to pay for drinks or for entry to anywhere. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do think that, as you said earlier, if you want to hit the bigger heights and do all the touring and stuff, it takes a lot of dedication. And 9 times out of 10 is going to come from your network. Every now and again, if you just shoot your shot and see that artist or whatever, then, you know, you can get it. But I mean, another great way as well to network with artists is if you see the artists are getting booked all the time. So let's say Solardo are doing a gig. Let's say Solardo are doing a gig at one of your gigs, and I haven't filmed for Solardo. So but I know you. So I'm like, oh, hey man, wondered if, so you could either do it by 2 ways. Ask to go and go backstage, but obviously then you're asking something for free. You're not really giving nothing. Ask to do a video for you, but while there, know that you're going to get clips of Solardo, and then say to them or speak to their manager and say, oh, hey, I've got a couple of clips. Don't know if you guys have a videographer if you're looking for one, but I'd just like to send them over. If you want to do something with them, cool. If not, or if you need any video content in the future, cool. If you build up a good rapport from them, as we said earlier, don't fangirl them. Don't ask for selfies or anything like this. Just be an adult to them. Speak to them when they're pretty chill. Be normal with them. 9 times out of 10, if they then think, oh, we need a videographer, that's the person they're going to go for. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's how it worked with me and Nathan Dorr. He come to Malia, did it. It's how it worked with Joel. It's how it happened with Ashley Kane. So many different people. And network and just how you act is so important.
Yeah, and I would definitely vouch for you on the not getting comfortable with your clients. One thing I will say for you, Reece, is you've always kept that professionalism, even though we've become friends and we've got drunk together and stuff. When we are dealing with business, you are super consistent, super professional, on time, and it's probably why we're talking today and our relationship has stayed intact, because once you stop doing that and you get into that friend zone and then you start being lazy, you start being sloppy, you start missing deadlines, that's when it gets personal. That's when I take it personal. That's when we start arguing, and that's when the relationship ends. So it's a real problem within the industry because there is no real restrictions or guidelines. It's a fun environment. Everyone's, you know, you go do what you love, so you just automatically become friends. You become, close, and then trying to separate that from business once it gets too close is very difficult, and where problems arise because you lose that professionalism and you lose that, right, there's a time for play, but there's a time for work, and when it's work, it's got to be consistent, it's got to be professional.
I think as well to touch on like that, on like people listening, is like, don't get me wrong, like we've had moments, especially in our like business like client thing, where I fucked up and situations has happened, but it's how that situation is dealt with. Prime example is when all the footage got corrupted from one of the shoots, and it's like, okay, like fuck, like this is on me, I should have backed it up sooner. Obviously these situations happen, but right, how can I resolve it as quickly as possible? Not just oh yeah, sorry mate, it's all gone. It's like, no, okay, look, I'm still going to deliver for you. Let's do an animation base instead. And we ended up doing an animation base. Obviously, it's not what we wanted originally, but I've done what I can to sort of heal that process and fix that business relationship. And as you say, it's hard to not get comfortable sometimes in these things, as you say, especially if you're there every week or you're going out and we're having parties. I mean, one thing I always say, even on the gigs I've done with you guys, is that while I'm there and I'm filming, like I'm not drinking. You're not there to get drunk. Film first, then party. Mm-hmm. Like get everything and then party. Same when we did One Sick Getaway in Maga. Of all the places, Maga, the biggest fucking pisshead location on earth. It was always, and me and Joe did the same. Get to that. Obviously you have a couple of drinks, but get to the comfortable level. Get all the shots we need. Then at 3-4 o'clock, we'll go drop our equipment back at the hotel, and then we'll come out and then we'll party. And I think it is just making sure, just remembering why you're there. Like so many times I've been on tour and just, there might have been, or you see examples of it, of other people doing it, and they're just camera in hand, fucking hammered all over the stage. To the point I've kicked people off stage. I'm like, look, I'm sorry, but you're sort of representing us while you're like here, even if it's from an external promoter. And I think that person then doesn't realise, I even saw it before I was working with MK, it doesn't look good. You've got to remember that every time you see somebody or meet somebody, they're going to take an impression of you, and that also becomes part of your branding, that your reputation. If I turned up to, let's say, one of your gigs or two of your gigs drunk, let's say one of your gigs and I'm too pissed, someone tries to have a conversation with me, or I fall off a stage or something like that, then, okay, happens once. But if then the same person who's the potential client, let's say one of your mates backstage owns a business that turns over X amount a year and he's looking for a videographer. So already they're like, oh, that guy does videos. I wonder if he does corporate videos. Okay, they see me fall off stage. Okay, not great, but might have just been an accident. If they then see that a second time, or they see me out again and I'm pissed again, they're like, no, this guy's always pissed, man. He don't care about his work. He's got his camera in hand, he's pissed. But if they see somebody who's solid working, I can have a full conversation with them while I'm sober. Like the amount of times there's been conversations in that old Mission VIP room with people like, oh yeah, like I do this, or we got this clothing brand, or I want to do that, or oh yeah, like you do this, you do that. If I was pissed with my camera in hand, I wouldn't have been able to have them conversations. I wouldn't have been able to articulate myself. But then because after they're like, oh come on, you can have a drink, It's like, yeah, look, once I finish, like work first, then I'll party. Even just saying that, it's putting the thought in their head like, hang on, you actually do care about the work you're putting out. I think it's just remembering why you're there, and just be very aware of that image that you're putting out, you're putting forward. Same with what I wear to gigs. Always wear all black, just to be smart. Don't turn up in anything too out there or fancy, because you're there to work. You're not there to be seen. It's it's not a PR stunt to be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, as I say, you are super professional. And going back to, so Reece filmed one of our photo shoots. It was for a Christmas campaign. Yeah. And we'd spent a full day filming. I think I nearly broke up with my girlfriend at the time because there was loads of girls dressed in Santa's outfits sat on mine and Tom's knees and stuff. So it'd been a really stressful day. And then a few days later, I think Reece said, look, like the files are corrupt. There's no footage. And they're the moments when, if our relationship had been too friendly, I'd have lost my shit, and that'd have been our relationship. Yeah. It'd have ended up in a swearing match.
No more gigs, no more shows, nothing.
But because of your consistency and professionalism up to that point, and continuing after that point, we dealt with the situation and we kept it professional. So yeah, I think it's super important to keep that professionalism and don't cross the barrier of getting too friendly, because that's when you will fuck up. So any final words of advice or a quote that you would like to leave our listeners with?
Sure. Follow your gut. The 9 to 5 isn't going anywhere. And don't be a dickhead. I guess. Because it works in all different ways. So just be yourself. And yeah, just keep aiming. And as you said, if you're doing it for the right reasons, you get there. It's going to take hard work. And there's going to be sleepless nights. And there's going to be times when you think it ain't going to work out. But keep at it. Build your network. And yeah, you never know what could happen. It only takes one meeting. Meeting one person can change anything.
Welcome to the Party Starters podcast with me, Kane Towning.